Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, went from working on the combines to I now got the corn planter pulled out of the corner, got it hooked here on the 14840 that we always pull it with the rock boxes. And so figure I'd grab the camera and bring you along. It's time to change blades. You can see these here are getting pretty well worn down. When they start getting pretty well rounded, it's time for new blades. And these are Yetter single disc fertilizer openers, and they got the cast knife piece right here and the fertilizer tube. And let me see if I can get you around behind there. Yeah, there we go. The fertilizer tube comes down the back of the knife and shoots right down through there, right out the back. And put these on, oh, I'm guessing it's probably around about 2010, 2011, somewhere through there. And we really like them. They do a great job, especially for our no-till. So, like I say, time for some new blades, and so I'm going to get started here. Now, last year, if I remember right, in 2024, I actually took these apart and repacked the hubs. It's just a simple little wheel hub right there, and put all new grease seals, bearings, that kind of stuff into them. Okay, well, there's the old one. Good for the iron pile. Okay, and here's the new one. And these are directional. If you have the Yetter single disc, like I say, there's the back side or the inside part of that cast knife piece. And you can see the tube coming down right there. But when you put these blades on, like I say, they are directional. And so you can kind of see the angle of the cut, how it's angled. And on this side, it's flat. You want that flat side facing in. Now these blades have more holes. The old blade just had 4 holes. This one here, okay, yep, that'll work. It has more holes. Just gotta make sure they all line up. And yep, there's that one. And it's got carriage bolts in them, so one nice thing, you don't need to put a 3/4 inch on the bolt head to keep it from wanting to spin on you. Once I get one tightened down, it'll go a whole lot easier. All right, got the bolts all in. Ready for the impact. Okay, that's got row number 1 done. Also, another thing here, in fact, actually here on row number 1, I can feel it right up in there. These it mounts onto this square frame tube right here with some bolts, a plate on the back, plate here on the front. And it's got this channel for this round bar. And then of course you can see it's got this piece right here that you can basically kind of adjust it. But we run it to where this piece right here sits down in that roll pin. and you got to watch. These roll pins can break out. If they can break completely out, the whole thing will actually fall off. But I can feel it. Let's see if I can, I don't know how well you can see up in there, but you can see the end of that roll pin's busted off. Now this end's still on, and so I got to put a new roll pin in that one. But I'll go across here first and put the new blades on, and while I'm going, I'll check the roll pins, and then we'll get the new blades on, put new roll pins in, and I need to look at my list of things as far as anything else that needs done on this. Well, I'll bring you along here for one more. I've got parts flying everywhere. There went my lock washer. Also, another thing on these, and there went that lock washer. Another thing on these hubs, I found out here a couple years ago, I had to repack a few, and I never realized I put a Napa grease seal in the back of them. Well, come to find out, these things originally ran a Timken grease seal, which is a triple with 3 ribs that help seal the dirt out. The Napas only had a single. Well, the Napa ones did not last very long. And so, if you have to repack these bearings, make sure you put the Timken triple rib grease seal into them. So then they'll last a lot longer going, because it's working in dirt all the time. I got the new blade put on here. Get that carriage bolt to line up. There we go. Well, that's odd. Acts like it's got something in the threads. Okay, there we go. Finally. All right, that's got row 2 done. All right, well, once I get the rest of these finished up all the way over to row number 12, I'll bring you back in, and then we'll go across here and I'll show you how to replace those roll pins. Like I say, this here is the only one that I have found so far, but I wouldn't be surprised if I don't find at least one more. Hope not, but we'll find out. All right, I just got done with row number 12 here. I went across and looked, and thankfully row number 1 was the only one with a broken roll pin. So if it works out here, I'll grab my tools and I'll try and show you how to change out them roll pins. All right, got you mounted there on the side of the planer. So first thing you want to do, take and loosen up this lock bolt there, and I'll loosen up that pinch ring. Just raising up the top, and then taking, just tighten that bolt back up. Now you'll take a handyman jack and we'll put underneath the pivot of that. And then I'll just raise that right up off that roll pin, just like that. Okay, and you can see that side of the roll pin stuck out there. Now to get the roll pin out, lots of times what I'll do is I'll use an air hammer and use a bit on the thing. It's got like a dome shaped type deal to it. Goes right over top that roll pin, take a knock it out of there, because sometimes they can get stuck. I'll grab my air gun, we'll punch that thing out of there. I mean my air hose. Okay. Just gotta watch sometimes this thing here can kind of want to pivot on that tube and cause it want to fall off that jack. As long as it stays straight, you're good to go. But that's got that shoved in as far as I can get it. Now I'll grab a roll pin punch and run on through. But using this air hammer is a whole lot easier because it breaks it loose. Otherwise, it's hard to get it broke loose with just a hammer and a roll pin punch. But the vibration knocks right through. Alright, you got my roll pin punch. And that's why I use the air hammer to loosen everything up. Otherwise, it's not going to want to go too easy. There we go. I'm knocked out of there. And that thing also saves your fingers too. I've never seen those anywhere else. That's a Craftsman I picked up at the old Sears store years ago, but it's pretty handy because you can put a punch into it or something, pinch it down, and it'll give you a handle to hang on to rather than smash a thumb. Got me a new roll pin. Yep, come on. Flip it over. Well, I thought anyway, man, I'd take and punch it through from the other side. Almost acts like it's got a little burr or something wanting to hold it up. Okay, finally got it started. There we go. Tight squeeze. And that should work right there. Oh, I may need one hit from the other way. I think that'll work right there. Well, once you get that pin put in, you just take and lower your jack back down. Or kind of grab this thing. There we go. It falls back down on top of it just like that. Loosen up that ring, drop him down. Tighten it up. And you're ready to roll. So here we are. I couldn't remember. I see last year, in fact last year we actually put new tires. The four main tires here on the back of the planter, we replaced them all and put new tires on. and I see I wrote the date right here, the pencil 24. I repacked both outside tires, but if I remember right, we were literally getting right down to busy time. I held up on the insides, and so I got to do both inside tires, and if I can work it out, also the 4 wing tires, the two sets on each wing. But we're going to do these here in the middle first. So let me see if I can get the camera set up somewhere, and we'll get these bolts popped out. Got the forklift pulled up here, got my tire put on the pallet, so I'll grab my impact. We'll get that hub dropped out of there. Well, that hub don't feel too bad, but I'll go ahead and repack it. That way I know we're good to go, because last thing you want is to run a wheel bearing out on a nice day, sun shining, trying to get corn planted, and the wheel bearing goes out. All right, got the hub dropped out of the rim. Now, like I said, you got this axle basically goes from one side of the hub to the other. And so over here you got a jam nut that holds it into the hub. And in that jam nut right there's a little lock, or a little set screw. So dig the dirt out of it, and that takes an Allen wrench. Take a wire brush and just clean the face of that down real good. Because that jam nut's is gonna thread off the end of that axle. Okay, that's almost got him. But if you get that dirt out of those threads, they'll come off a lot easier. All right, that should have it. Found the right Allen wrench. Let's get that set down in there. Come on. There we go. And don't take that thing all the way out, because it's too easy to end up losing that little set screw. Get my Allen wrenches here put back away. And now taking that thing off can be kind of tricky, because the whole thing wants to turn. So generally what you got to do, you got to take one of your axle mounting bolts. Let me see if I can oh, there you go. That bolts the tire to the main frame of the planter. Put that back into your axle, and you usually got to end up running that thing all the way in. Okay, that's got it run all the way back into the axle. Then you're going to take your socket, put it back onto your breaker bar, put that right there, and then you're going to get your big wrench. On this one right here, it's actually 1 7/8. Get put on there. And that bolt is still going. I thought it might have been actually bottomed out. Guess not. It's got quite a ways to go before it starts spinning. Oh, okay, it already is spinning. I don't know how well you can see that on camera or not. Okay, can't turn it by hand, still too hard to go around there. But like I say, you're going to take that wrench, hold that lock nut, and then turn with your ratchet. Then once you get that out of there, in fact I should have taken that dumb lock washer off. Okay. Well, in theory, that thing comes out there. Oh, no wonder why it came through the other side. Okay, there we go. Now you can see I got that nut spun up off them threads right there. That's what you want. Now I got this jam nut spun out here, and it's up against that bolt. So you got to take your other bolt, put it back in here on this end in order to hold it. So you're basically, you're kind of working it against itself until you can get that all spun out of there. There we go. In fact, let's take and flip this way. All right, now we should be ready. There we go. Spin that nut off there, just like that. And now you can take and drop that axle out of there. And right there, looks like there's going to be a that is a spacer that goes into the grease seal. But it should just now be able to take, yeah, there we go. Shove that axle through there. Once you get it shoved through so far, then this spacer here is going to come out. Well, there we go. And that's what goes actually into your grease seal right there. Lay him off the side. And now we'll just take and pull the axle right out of the back of the hub. Like that. And there's the inner axle. Lay him off the side. Same thing. It's got a spacer down here that goes into the grease seal as well. So they're kind of a pain. You got, like I say, you got to kind of work those bolts back and forth against themselves. Getting the crud cleaned off this one grease seal because it takes one on each side. One here, one over here. And thankfully, I see a number. Perfect. 16069. So I'm going to give Napa a call and they should be able to cross that. Hopefully they got some of these on hand. We'll find out. Alright, well I just called Napa and talked to them. They got that number. In fact, come to find out that was actually their number, so perfect. So they're going to be sending some seals down, and then we'll get this. I may go ahead and pop this hub apart, but yeah, then we'll be ready to take and put it back together and be good to go again. All right, well I'm getting that bearing and seal knocked out of the end down there. You can see the punch sticking through. Seal's about half out. You just gotta take a long punch and run it down from the top. I think that did it right there. Yeah. There's the old seal. That green ring. All right, there's the bearing. Well, let's see here. Get you a better view of it. I got that bearing stuck in the old seal. Let's see. There we go. That guy popped apart. Well, they weren't completely dry, but you don't have a whole lot of grease left in it, so it's definitely time for a repack. Alright, I flipped the hub over. Okay, there's my punch coming out the other end. Now, knocking them bearings down out of there, you just gotta be careful you don't actually get onto the retainer that holds the rollers in place. Otherwise, you can bend it. If you don't bend it too bad, you can usually bend it back in place and be good to go. However, if you mess it up pretty good, you gotta put a new bearing in. Okay, hey, we're getting it knocked loose. There we go. And dropped out. Perfect. Well, I can tell you one thing. It's time to I gotta clean that punch up. All covered with grease. But yeah, that bearing, no, don't look too awful bad. I mean, it's not dry, but it's definitely not well packed. Of course, it's done a lot of rolling since 2008, so I guess it has good reason to be. So we'll get that off there. Just take and get the ring, and there's the old grease seal. Alright, well, I'm going to set this stuff off the side, and I'll bring you back in when I get my new seals from Napa. Well, I got my new seals here, all 12 of them, because I got I got enough to do the wing wheels on the planter also. So that should have me fixed up. Okay, I'm going to get my bearing packer. We'll get these bearings packed, new seals pressed in, and this here will be ready to go back into the rim. Got my bearing packer here, and I've showed this thing here before, but set your bearing down in it, cone side down, just like that. You got like a little plunger, pop him on top like that, and you can either try and shove down on that, but with the grease so cold, it's going to push pretty hard. So generally what I do is I'll take and put it here in the vise, and that works a whole lot better. I just take and tip it on its side. Just got to watch that you don't pinch it down too hard and break something. And I don't know how well you can see down in there. Oh, you can kind of see the top edge of the bearing right there. Then just begin to crank down on it, and it will begin to push the grease right up between the rollers, and it should be coming out the top. There we go. Gotta get the ear shoved through. Okay, it's beginning to show through. Not too sure how well you can see that though. Like I say, that's why I use the vise, because with it being so cold. Okay, there we go. You can see it shoving through the rollers. That's what you want. Alright, I just took the little plunger out. Yeah, you can see it. Got the grease all shoved through it. So now we're ready to take and drop it into the race, and we're good to go. And before I put the bearing in, I'll take a little bit more additional grease and put around the outside of it, and then drop it down into the race like that. And now I'm ready to take and press the grease seal in. I've actually found using the press works a whole lot better because it keeps it going down even. Otherwise, you gotta watch. You can end up taking, if you buckle that thing, then it's shot. Ain't gonna work anymore. All right, I got the GoPro sitting here on the press. Here's the hub. There's the grease seal. We'll put that on top of it, and then start and now we're up to it. Okay, that's got it. Like I say, for any grease seal that you got to put in, if they press into the hub, now some of these actually will go onto the axle first, then the hub goes over it. But like these here, where the grease seal actually goes into the hub, that's why I found the best way to take and put them in there. Just use the press, that way it pushes it down even, because otherwise it can tip. And if it should happen to tip and you don't catch it, it'll take and put like a great big kink in the one side and egg shape it. And then it's done for. You gotta get another seal. I'm gonna pack that bearing, put it into the other side of the hub, and then I'll bring you back in when I'm ready to take and get this mounted back onto the planter. Because this here's the exact same thing as the one side that you just saw. Alright, well, before I mount the thing back on the planter, I figure, well, I'll show you putting the hub back together. And it's just like we took it apart. Put your axle through. Huh, a little bit of dirt on that thing. There we go. Should just go right through on one side and pop out the other right through that bearing. Now, it probably will have a bunch of grease collected up on the end of it, just like that. And we'll take and clean all that big mess off. It got grease all over from inside the hub housing. So you'll put this little ring here on, and that's what actually goes into the grease seal. And take and put your big jam nut down onto it. Now, generally what you have to do, you can get that down there so far, and you got to take and put a socket on this end. That way it holds it from wanting to just sit there and spin. You can hold it for a little while with your fingers, but once you start drawing it down, you're going to need a big wrench and a, what is that? I think 1.1/8" socket to go on this end. So we'll get those lined up. All right, take your wrench. This here is 1 7/8" on that end. Other end is 1 1/8". Just lay him over, and you can actually begin to use the ratchet to draw that together. Well, until the wrench falls off. But yeah, that's how you get them drawn up. Now, sometimes I can kind of see it, wanting to do it a little bit right there. Not know how well you can see that, but that rubber ring of the grease seal, you may need to take like a little small either like a little awl or like a little pick, and flip that up to where it's running flat on that surface right there, because sometimes it doesn't, it's trying to pop over top that piece where it's made to run at. Okay, I got snugged up. And you don't want that real tight, but you do want a little bit of preload on the bearings naturally. In fact, I may actually need to take them back a little bit of that off. Okay. That's got feeling a little bit better in there. Like I say, you want it snug, but not jammed down so tight that you're gonna hurt something. And that feels pretty good right there. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. I got this little 9-degree prick in there underneath that rubber seal, and if you can, try and bring that around, because it's rolled under itself. That's what you don't want. And try to get into your fingers with it. Yeah, let's go over here on the other side. Looks good. Well, everything else looks good around there. One little spot right there that is not wanting to roll, unless it's pinched. Anyway, you get the idea. Alright, got the hub put back into the wheel. Now it's ready to go back on the planter. Got the wheel now rolled back into the planter frame. Can get a rough idea of where that bolt, how that bolt hole's doing. Don't feel too far off right there. Let's see if that thing will go in first. And I gotta try and get that spacer. Ooh. Almost acts like, yeah, it kind of acts like this bar here may need to go up. Yeah, it's not wanting to bite. Well, it might have bit right there, but still not wanting to go too well. Now, I just had the tractor running and I used the hydraulic to lift that. However, you can't be very precise. So I'm going to get the forklift and come in underneath here, and then I can just lift up on that arm right there, and that way I can just be a lot more precise with it to get them bolt holes lined up. Alright, I got the forklift sitting right here. So let's check it out. Up, I bumped up on it a little too much. Take and lower him back down. Took a little bit of playing, but yeah, there we go. Now the fun job. Got to get that washer pinched between the hub and that bolt. I'm just going to tell you right now, that's easier said than done. Hey, there we go. It bit. Yeah, now we're threading in on that one. I run those washers in there because it needs to be spaced properly. Now, not every tire has that, just certain ones if I remember right. Well, now we'll jump over to the other side. Okay, now I can feel it on that one. I'm going to have to drop the forklift just a little bit. We're about half a hole off. Now, before I try and put my flat washer in there, I'll try it with the bolt and see if I'm getting things. Yeah, there we go. That got that. We're pretty well lined up. Now, leave the bolt right there. And try and drop the washer down through there. Like I say, this is the tricky part. Especially if you can't get the washer pinched in there properly. Hey, there we go. It lined up. Good. Alright, that's got snugged down the lock washer. Now I'll get my big ratchet and we'll tighten him up. Okay, got my big ratchet with 1 1/8 inch. Get the camera out of the way. There we are. Oh, I know why I got those washers. It causes these arms, without them, they want to pinch in too tight. And in fact, you got to watch it. It can actually, for no farther than what that arm runs from the tire can actually want to hit that. And so that's why I have those spacers in there. It kind of keeps things spaced more even. I got you sitting on top of the insecticide box. And just crank them down. They're good and tight and they can't go anywhere. All right, there's that one. Same thing on the other side. Just pull her up good and tight until it don't move. Ah, there we go. Well guys, I'm going to call this an end of the video. I got to repack that one and both of the wing wheels on the right and left sides. So I've got 5 more to do. But you saw that one, they're all the same. So hey, take care. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.